Grand Master Rumi, his great statement, I am born as a mineral and I died to be born again as a plant. I died as a plant to be born again as an animal. I died as an animal to be again born as a human. And I know I am going to die again, but to be born again as a divine human. And I know there is no death because I'll be born again and again in the greater spheres of life. So this is the Grand Master's Rumi's realization that there is no death. And even if you die, you will be born again. It's a much evolved consciousness. So when there is no death, and when you know that it is just a temporary shift, and every time you are reborn again and you are into a better state of consciousness, where is the fear? Why should I fear? That is Rumi's statement. Why should I fear? So this is the truth, my dear friends. And this truth dispels the ignorance. It is because of this ignorance. This is the root cause of the fear. This is the first point. And the second is the karmic baggage we carry on from the past lives. We have to face our fears. We would have done many unconscious things. We would have done many wrong acts in our past lives. Consciously, unconsciously, doesn't matter. But in this lifetime, it will reflect as fear. And whatever the fears, whatever the existing fears, whatever the fears which appear in our life, which pop up in our life, you have to face it. The more and more you face it, the more and more you're not postponing it to the next lifetime. And the third, the food we eat. You have to be very conscious of the food we eat. Yes, the food we eat contributes to our fear. If you eat the food of pain and suffering, or if you eat garlic, or if you eat the food which is not prepared by a healthy person, which is not prepared by a positive-minded person, which is not prepared with love, which is not prepared with gratitude, then naturally it contributes to your consciousness, your energy. So we have discussed all those things and how to come off it, how to come out of it. Meditation becomes very essential. Mindfulness and making positive friendships, spending time with positive people, and reading a lot of spiritual books. The more you read spiritual books, the more you come out of the ignorance, the more you can educate yourself. So these are the points we have discussed yesterday. Just a quick recap. So let us integrate more of your mindfulness experiences, your meditation experiences, and any questions related to.
I have an interaction with you, sir, during my stillness program. Okay, sir, I will just straightway come to your point. Transformation journey. So in transformation journey, I have got realized first week of Sunday, where you said about this one, silence in a house. It was very difficult for me. I could only silence for 6 hours on that day. Okay, sir. After next week, that is the last week when Saturday and Sunday, it was miraculous for me, sir. I could make up to 40 hours. It was really fantastic. That is a realization has happened. And which your words always has stuck to mind, that is sincerity and seriousness. This I followed it very, very strictly and it has worked on me. To precise, sir, it is not that better experience than explained. That's what I learned from this transformation journey, and I'm sure I'm further transformed, and I want to be again further propagate this thought. Thank you very much. I don't have any words to express my gratitude for that. Questions wise, you handle everything without asking even a single question. You answer everything. You are one thing I remember, that in between don't talk. So you know that our mind, what is running in our mind. To that extent, you are very, very clear in that. I don't have any words to express. It may not make any difference for you, I know that, but still wholeheartedly. Thank you very much, sir. Nice of you, sir. Nice of you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your sharing of your experiment and your realization. Thank you.
I managed to successfully complete my silence exercise the whole of Saturday and Sunday until maybe 3 o'clock because there was an emergency in the afternoon. And what I realized is that, well, silence is very easy for me. Mindfulness is really, really challenging. But what I do is that every time the mind, thoughts goes, and I keep bringing it back. There is an awareness. There's like something in the inner voice tells me, okay, come back, come back, come back. So even though like maybe like 30 minutes, an hour I'm away, but I still come back to the present moment. So I think it's a work in progress. I have a question with regards to the fear. Okay, let's say you did mention the person who cook, their energies will get into the food and we will imbibe it when we eat. Now, let's say we go to restaurant, okay, and of course we do not know who cooks it and all that. But what if we offer prayers to the food, and also to the person who cooked the food, we just express our gratitude and all that. So will that change the vibration of the food that we consume?
Given a choice, you should avoid those kind of foods. Why to go to a restaurant knowing that the energy is served is just a business energy? It's a transaction. So the restaurant, they don't start it out of service. There is no gratitude energy, and you don't know how the workers are treated, whether they are properly paid or not. And even they are well paid, you don't know what is the state of mind the person who is cooking at that time. Okay, so the impact is already there. The negative impact is there. But your question is, so given a choice, don't eat outside. But if you have to eat outside, then eat fruits, take juices. So the fresh fruits, juices, if you have to eat outside, this is the best choice. But if you ask as a third option, no, I really feel like eating outside. I like a particular restaurant, I like a particular dish, I really feel like eating outside. If that is a scenario, or there is an emergency, you have to eat, you are traveling, extensively traveling, and you have to eat. What should I do? Yes, you can minimize the damage. You can minimize the damage when you eat by hands. When you're eating by hands, that's the culture in India, that when you eat the hands, you give your own energy to the food. So you eat by hands, and yes, you can make a prayer and send gratitude energy. There will be some impact, but it won't be completely negated because the damage is already done. So better to avoid it. The more subtle you are, the more sensitive you are in this spiritual journey, the impact will be greater. Suppose if you are not a meditator, you are not sensitive, then you won't even notice that impact. But as you meditate and as you practice more and more mindfulness, and as you are practicing more silence, then you become more sensitive. So the more sensitive you become, the more it impacts you. So for your question, the answer is better to avoid. If there is no other choice, you have to eat outside, then as an alternative, take fruits and juices and salads. Avoid cooked food. That is a second. No, but still there is an emergency, I have to eat. Then yes, there is a negative impact, but you can minimize to a small extent. You can minimize to a small extent when you make prayers and send some gratitude energy. I would like to share an experience of my own. So once one of my friends, an acquaintance who I met her in Australia, she is a spiritual person, and she does a lot of spiritual activities. So she came to Singapore and to visit me for a weekend. So then we went to one of the hawker centers nearby, and we were ordering. There is a place where they sell without onion, without garlic, vegetarian food. So I was going and ordering there, and I was surprised. She ordered something else. She ordered meat. I was so wonderstruck. How come a person who speaks always about love. Every word she speaks is love, 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 oneness, oneness. I was so surprised, like she orders this. It was a shock for me. I thought she is vegetarian. So then I asked, how is that, you speak about love, you speak about spirituality, you speak about all these amazing things of the heart, heart vibrations. And how can you eat this bloody food? How can you eat the food of pain and suffering? Then she says, yes, I'm totally aware. The animals go through a lot of pain. I'm totally aware. That's why before I eat, I always bless my food. This is how the mind is very, very cunning. The truth is simple and straightforward. Your being knows the truth, but your mind always takes you round and round. I hope you got the answer.
Thanks for sharing the experience. I got it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So I would like to speak on silence, because that is the one thing which I picked up in your session only in the Bangalore Pyramid Valley. And I realized that after the 9 days silence, I got agitated. We were like meditating for 6 to 7, 8 hours every day. So the layers came out on the 9th day. But when I tried to follow silence at home, I'm realizing that within 2 days, now I have started doing 2 days complete silence. So by the end of 2 days, the layers start coming up. But this is the first time I went for a 3-day silence from Purnima till Sunday. And I realized the experience was amazing. I could go in silence, but I want to be in silence more and more. So is it a good sign, or how do I go about with it? My meditation experiences are very good. I mean, in the sense I go into trance or thoughtlessness very fast, and silence is one thing which I am really enjoying. So can you just help me out or tell me how do I, because I'm loving silence.
Okay. So you attended the intense retreat in Bangalore. Yes, I do remember you. See, what happens when you practice silence, there's the layers and layers which peels emotion barriers. Silence is a very good spiritual practice for you to notice your subtle thoughts, and also for you to detox your emotions, for you to come into a balance in your emotions, for you to also go through in other words, it's an emotional detox. Right. So you have experienced that when you came for this intense retreat. And after that, the first layer, the peeling of the first layer is always the most challenging. And once you peel that first layer, then you are more motivated, because now you know what silence can give it to you. So you want to practice more, you want to practice more, you want to peel off all the layers. We are so interested in your self-mastery. You are so interested in your self-realization. So that feeling, I want to practice more, is perfect. It's your soul guidance from within. Meher Baba, he was in silence for 40 years. Such a great enlightened master. For 40 years, he was in total silence. So it is a soul calling that you want to be in silence. And silence, again, is a very great necessary spiritual practice. It's not an option. It's a necessary spiritual practice where it helps to detox in many levels, mentally, emotionally. And you become firm in your spiritual journey. The more you practice silence, the more it motivates you to go deeper into your enlightenment process. So continue, follow your intuition. You are in the perfect path. Continue. So if Meher Baba can be in silence for 40 years, can't we be in silence for 40 days?
And I practiced 2 days silence on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, I was feeling very joyful, very happy while in the silence. I was feeling like laughing from inside. And I was sitting alone and laughing. And I read the spiritual book also, Think Like a Monk, 2 chapters of it. On Sunday, it was little, I have to explain a lot of things to my child. And so I was writing and explaining it. It was a great experience, sir. And though I was in a silence, I went to the shopping also with my husband and stored. It was a little funny to explain the things, what I want and what. But silence made me happy, sir. I was very joyful from inside, and the thoughts were less comparatively to the other days which are running in my mind.
Okay. All right. So you just want to share your experience.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And just a suggestion, I think I would have spoken about it. If you're going to practice silence, it's better you plan well ahead, where you finish off all your shopping and groceries. And the days you are practicing silence, it is very important you are not distracted by the outside energy field. Where your 100% focus is on the inner. So the days you are practicing silence, you can stay home, or you can go to an ashram, or you can spend a lot of time in the nature. So that will give a deeper impact, a greater realization in your silence practice. Better to avoid the shopping malls, marketplaces, and better to avoid interacting with other people as much as possible.
One thing I have a doubt in my mind, after listening to you intensely, I realize, even otherwise before also I have realized that I have no fear at all within me for anything and everything, right from my childhood. Stage fear. I'm free. I'm ready to talk to anyone, anything. So fear is something which I have not felt at all. So that is one thing. I don't know whether it is a positive sign or a negative sign. I take it as a positive sign, but please guide me. And another one more thing is about the food. So I am 67, a retired person. So I have handed over my kitchen to my daughter. So she does the cooking, all the 3 meals. And she is not always positive about many things. And I consider her as an infant soul. And now after listening to you, I just allow her to evolve. So I know criticism, nothing. But I am forced to eat only that food. What should I do, sir? How can I cook alone just for myself in a family of 4 or 5?
Who asked you to cook? Who asked you to cook alone? Cook for everybody. When you are a meditator, if you have more energy, you should take charge of the kitchen. That is your dharma. In the house, only the person who has the maximum energy should cook if the family has to be healthy. If you really care for your family, then if you are a meditator and if your other members are not meditating in your family, then you should take charge. That is your duty. That is your dharma.
But then that will take away many hours. Then I will be deprived of doing meditation.
Then face the consequences. Be prepared to face the consequences. It's all free choice. You know what is the truth. Yes. Whether to follow the truth or not is your choice. Okay. And you say you don't have fears. So that means you are enlightened. So don't need to meditate. Celebrate your life. Because if you are fearless, if you don't have fears, it means by default you are enlightened. But you might have this confusion in your mind. No, but I don't have fears then. But still, there's a lot of things I need to work on myself.
Yes.
I don't feel I'm enlightened. But then the fears are not there. So that is your question. So this, many people come across where they are not aware of their fears. It doesn't mean you don't have fears. So the more and more you do meditation, the more and more you practice mindfulness, the more you realize the subtle fear inside you, which will pop up very naturally. You become aware of it. And then you start working on it. You don't need to worry, I don't have fears, which fears I need to work on? Don't keep searching and worrying about the fears. Just continue meditation, practice mindfulness, be sensitive to the energies around you. Okay. Always focus on the food. The food plays a very important role. Eat always vegetarian food without garlic and cook your own food. So the more you do these practices, and also silence is a very, very important spiritual practice. So when you do this, then slowly, all the suppressed fears for many, many lifetimes. Sometimes what the soul does is it's too much. It's really too much for them. So what they do is they put so many layers and they suppress it. And they become insensitive to their own emotions and feelings. The moment they become so insensitive to their own self, then they don't notice fear also. But that's not a healthy way, because your heart chakra is completely frozen. Your heart space is frozen. So the more you practice whatever the tools we are given, like meditation, mindfulness, silence, and eating the food of high vibration energies, then naturally all the suppressed fears, frozen fears will pop up slowly. And whenever it pops up, you know how to handle it. Don't be worried about it. Okay, so just continue, be very careful about the food. If you want to progress in your spiritual journey, you have to take charge of your own cooking. In our family, in my family, like, when I came into meditation, so after I came into meditation, I became vegetarian very naturally. But my family members are not yet vegetarian. So I used to live in Australia, and whenever I visit India, I don't want to go to my home. I straight come to Pyramid Valley. I come here, I land in Bangalore, spend time in Pyramid Valley. I said, if anybody wants to see me, you can come to Pyramid Valley and see me. I'm not going to come to the house. So this is how I made my visits, because I don't want to visit my family. I know they cook meat in the house. I don't want to step into the house where there is cooking meat. I'm speaking about my beginning days in the year 2008. And then when my family members came for the first time and they saw me, they say, you are so different, you're so transformed, and you're so happy. How can we be happy like you? I said, you become a vegetarian and practice meditation. So then some of my cousin brothers and sisters, they became vegetarian immediately, and my mother became vegetarian. And then my mother started inviting me. Now you can come home. You just come once in a while from Australia and you don't even enter our house. It feels very bad. So then I told my mother that yes, I will come to the home on one condition. You make sure there is no killing, there is no negative energy in the house. You make sure the house is pure vegetarian, and you never allow even any outside cooked meat to enter the house. And if you sanitize the house, and if you're going to maintain that forever, then I will step in. They did. So I didn't blame them. I didn't complain them, but I am very strong in my principles. So I said, okay, I'm not stepping into the house, but I still love you. I still accept you. They are my parents. They are my brothers and sisters. I still accept them. There is no hatred against them. There is no anger against them. But I won't enter the house. I'll rather go to a place where I'm comfortable. But when they wanted me to be part of them in the house, then I said, this is the only condition I have. I'm happy to visit, but provided the house is like an ashram, where there is no killing, where there is no meat in the house, then I will enter. They said, yes, you are more important for us. We will make sure we keep the house like that. So it is out of kindness and understanding. Mutually, when you are understanding and kind, then the other person also resonates. So you asked a question, my daughter, I assume they are an infant soul. No, never judge others. That is not the right thing to do. I spoke about the soul evolution to understand what state you are in. But please don't judge others. Whatever the state they are perfect. But you have a choice what kind of life you want to live. So you cannot say that I'm helpless. You have all the power within you, and everything is your choice. Yes, when it comes to family members, when it comes to relationships, it is a little challenging, but you can deal it in a very sensitive way. When you are sensitive, you can of course deal it in a sensitive way. And when you are dealing in a sensitive way, what you give comes back to you. So when you are sensitive and when you're dealing any complicated situation in a sensitive way, through proper communication, without any judgments, and you being authentic in your heart space. When you are in your heart space, when you're authentic, and when you're dealing the relationships in that heart space, in that authentic space, then the other people also respond to you. That is the beauty. Even if they are infant soul, old soul, they might not change, but they will consider you. Because you are vibrating that energy, that is what you will receive back. This is the law. What you radiate, you will absorb it back.
My experience is amazing. Sunday and Monday I have done silence, and I like digital detox more than silence. It is complete silence in mind also, no disturbance from other calls and WhatsApp. And I have tried the last self-transformation one sentence. Karma is a tool, not a punishment. I was taking many things in a wrongly way in relationship also, and I thought why I'm staying in home when people are not happy with me. It's not big thing. Then after your session, the last one in August, I have tried and I see that there are many mistakes from my side and not from all. And gradually now the relation is very nice and I feel good at home and I don't want to go from my home. So that is the very good achievement. Sir, one question is there regarding fear and to be in hard space. So, say for example, I have fear of car driving. Though I'm driving a car since 10 years, I'm a good driver. I have driven a lot, but still, whenever I sit in car, I feel oh something is that, something is that. So I could not able to remove my fear, and my heart said, "Don't drive, don't drive." So now I'm little confused whether I need to listen my heart, don't drive, or whether I have to face my fear. That is the question, sir.
Okay, so it's very interesting. Is your heart saying don't drive? Out of whenever your heart says don't drive, you feel a lot of you feel good in your heart space, or is it coming from a space of fear?
It's only fear only, not in a
And
good.
then if it is coming from the space of fear, then it is not your heart guiding you. See, our emotions, our feelings, there are two kinds: fear-based and love-based. All our feelings, all our emotions, all our thoughts are either, even our words, our actions are either love-based or fear-based. Any thought, any feeling, any emotion, any word, any action you do is either love-based or fear-based, as simple as that. So whenever you go through this confusion that I'm feeling something from inside, so should I follow it or not? How do I know whether it is my intuition or how do I know whether it is my fears? So you have to go where it is coming from, where it is originating from. So when you have this thought, when you have this feeling, when you speak these words, when you do certain acts, you feel warm in your heart space, you feel expanded, you feel joy. Yes, that is your guidance from your soul. You have to follow it. But if when you feel a certain, your body's a little shrink and you're feeling not comfortable in your heart space, so definitely it is a fear-based vibration. So that moment you tell yourself, yes, I will face it. The more and more you face the fears, the more and more you come out of it. And yes, when you're having fears, how do you face it? It needs a lot of energy. Courage doesn't mean absence of fear. Courage means you have fears. The fears are there. But in spite of the fears, you move forward. In spite of the fears, you move forward. That is courage. So when you are facing the fears are there. But in spite of the fears, you take a step forward. That is what it means, facing the fears. Okay, madam? The only way out for anybody, the only way out is when you face the fears.
Thank you, sir. I will try today.
Okay. And whenever you notice these fear-based vibrations, you have to be aware and alert. That's why mindfulness helps. Anytime you notice these fear-based thoughts, fear-based vibrations, immediately replace it. Bring the energy of the truth. Only the truth dispels the darkness. Only the truth dispels the darkness. So bring in the truth of all what you have heard in the sessions. There is no injustice whatsoever. There is no tragedy whatsoever. This is the greatest statement. So come out of the ignorance, bring the truth into your being. That will give you the courage to face it. So that's why it is important. You have to do meditation every day. You have to read books every day. You have to practice mindfulness every day. And you have to do Sajjana Sangatya. What we are doing is nothing but Sajjana Sangatya. You have to be always with positive people. You have to always make friendship with positive people. So when you do these things, then naturally you are equipped. You are a spiritual warrior. The definition of a spiritual warrior is you are in the path of self-realization. Yes, the fears are there, the negativity is there, the karmic baggage is there, the emotions are there, the pain is there, but in spite of it, you go forward. That is a spiritual warrior for your own self-realization. Spiritual warrior, not physical warrior. Okay, madam?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We had 3 days ego session. It was really wonderful. It is very difficult to come out of that because I keep on listening to it again and again. Okay, I have a question regarding fear. There are things happening around us, like Ukraine. We have this new movie coming up, Kashmir Files. So, when you see such things, there is some fear. So, does the fear around in other part of the world also affect us?
The fear affects, see, as long as the fear is inside you, the external forces are just a trigger.
Okay.
Your environment affects you. Your environment affects you. Sometimes the fears are not our fears. Sometimes the fears are projected from our surroundings. But still we get affected because we still have some residue inside us. So when we have the residue, the outside influences the inside. So for your question, the outside impacts us? Yes, definitely the outside impacts us. So that's why you should cut off all the things which is fear-based. Cut off until you reach a certain stage of evolution. You have to be very careful in this journey. Always stay positive. Always stay miraculous. Okay, don't let the negative influences. Don't watch the TV. Switch off the TV. Don't watch newspapers. Just very necessary things. Yes, go through the headlines, necessary things. After that, if the particular news is a particular topic is fear-based, don't watch it. Avoid it. Let focus be always on positive things, positive news. Okay, so that is until you reach a certain level. But after you reach a certain level of consciousness, where you are fully aware, where there is moment to moment awareness, you have reached that state of consciousness, then nothing impacts you. You can see the Ukraine war, you can see a lot of tragedies, but you will be just a witness to it. It will not impact you. Because you understand there is no injustice and no tragedy. Every moment you are radiating that. So you will just watch it like a drama. You know, when you go for a movie, you go for a theater, you watch the drama. So it will just like watching a drama, but you will, because you watch it like a drama, because you are watching it from a soul perspective. So when you watch it from the soul perspective, everything is a drama. You see, before the soul incarnates, the soul goes through extensive planning. And the soul knows that there is a lot of trauma on the planet Earth, and there is a lot of pain and suffering on the planet Earth. The soul knows, but in spite of knowing it, the soul still wants to take birth. The soul still wants to incarnate on the planet Earth because the soul knows it's a perfect drama. The entire lifetime is a drama. The soul knows it, and that's why it deliberately takes this plans and takes this lifetime. So from the soul perspective, everything is a drama. Everything is a play. Okay.
Yes. So one more question can I ask?
Yes, madam, go ahead.
Actually, it's different, but I mean, it is not about fear or ego. I wanted to ask, like you said, small children, from my childhood, we have been trained that we do some samskaar on the child, we teach them some discipline. But then, you said it is, I mean, we are disturbing. They are innocent and we try to put something into them. But is it not necessary to discipline the children? Because we have been taught like that samskaar, you should give them good samskaar.
Yes, exactly. You got the answer. You are the victim of your own past.
Okay.
You can give only what you have. So you have lost the paradise when you are a child. So only you can give that. What you are, only you can give that to your children. So when you work on your ego, and when you are authentic as a parent, then you appreciate the authenticity of the child. So you will not condition them. You will not put them into a situation where they are forced to do certain things, you will be very sensitive to them. You will guide them, but you will not impose anything on them. That is the right spiritual parenting. The spiritual parenting means the parents themselves become enlightened first. The parents themselves work on all their layers of egos and fears and judgments of the guilt. When the parents are working on themselves, then they know how to be a spiritual parent. Then they will not interfere in the child because they know the child is perfect. The child is perfect as it is. Yes, sometimes the child might go and touch fire, or sometimes the child might go and try to jump on the well. So they will interfere only in emergencies. The parents should interfere only in emergencies, not on an everyday basis, not in everyday affairs. That is the spiritual parenting. Spiritual parenting means the parents themselves, they work on themselves. So that is the greatest gift you can give it to your child. When you are authentic, that is the greatest gift you can give it to your child.
Answer comes naturally. Just when we see flower, so smile comes naturally. Is it also in judgmental space, or is it natural?
Come again with your question, the example you are saying.
How we reach to non-judgmental state?
Yeah, very simple. Do more and more meditation. Practice more silence and become aware. The first thing is you have to be aware of your own judgments. That is the first step. So to become aware of your judgments, you need a high degree of awareness. So to have a high level of awareness, to have a high degree of awareness, then naturally you need mindfulness, you need meditation. That's why you see every topic we discuss, it comes back again to meditation and mindfulness. So you might answer, sir, for all your questions, the answer is simply mindfulness and meditation. Yes, that is the fact. The only solution for all the problems is meditation, mindfulness, being a vegetarian.
Yeah, I'm practicing mindfulness, but it is quite difficult, not so easy.
Of course it is. Of course it is challenging. Don't use the word difficult. If you use the word difficult, it becomes difficult. So you should be very careful what kind of words we are using. Say it is challenging. That is fine. But don't say it is difficult. When you practice it, it becomes easy. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes a man or a woman perfect. So meditation is relatively easier. Mindfulness takes practice, because if you are practicing mindfulness, that means you are really serious on your enlightenment. You want to be aware 24/7. It is necessary to come out of all the judgments. Jesus Christ says, judge not. One statement. Judge not means don't judge others' thoughts, don't judge others' feelings, don't judge others' words, don't judge others' actions, don't judge anything. Not others, don't even judge your own self. Judge not. Many people, they say, okay, we are not judging others, but they will judge themselves. They will go into a self-judgment process. I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that. So how can you judge yourself? You don't know anything about yourself. You don't know how many lifetimes you have taken. You don't know your purpose of life. You don't know what is the mission in this particular lifetime. You don't know your soul design. So you don't know anything about you. So when you don't know anything about you, how can you judge yourself? It's the same. You don't know anything about the other person. So how can you judge a person? So that's why they say, just why the Jesus Christ statement is very simple and straight. Judge not. Don't judge. He said don't judge because it is impossible. You cannot judge another person. It's not possible. What kind of data you have to judge? It's not possible to have all the data from all the lifetimes. So don't judge. Just understanding. Don't judge yourself, but understand. Yes, I'm going through these kind of issues. You understand it. So what to do now? That's it. That simple understanding is needed. Similarly, when people around you are doing certain things, you just understand. Okay, so they are doing certain things because of their own childhoods and because of their own past lives and because of their own karmic things. Everybody has their own journey. So they are behaving in a certain way. So they are perfect in their evolution. Just have the understanding and deal with the situation. Respond to the situation. Don't judge. When you judge, then you react. But when you understand, then you respond. Okay, madam?
Sir, some reactions are comes naturally, just like we see the flowers. The smiles comes naturally, or some when we pass something yeah to reactions are comes naturally. This is also a judgmental state, or it's a
No,
natural process.
no. When you see a flower, you smile at the flower. It is not a judgment.
Okay.
It is your authentic expression. Your beauty, you see, your inner beauty has appreciated the outer beauty. So it is a natural expression.
In the process of enlightenment towards journey to self-realization by several individuals around the world, will satsang, prayers, positive mental attitudes, etc., they benefit globally. That is, it contributes to global betterness. And is there anything called global consciousness? That's the first.
Yes, of course. Of course it benefits. See, when you are a happy person, then the people around you are impacted. Yes or no?
Yes.
When you are happy, then your wife and children are also naturally happy. So when it can impact the family, it can impact your state, it can impact your country, it can impact the whole world, and it can impact the entire cosmos. It goes like a ripple effect. Your positive also impacts, your negative also impacts. Okay, because we're all connected. Everything is connected to everything. So yes, naturally. And also, as we have a consciousness for individuals, consciousness is everywhere. Everywhere the consciousness is there. The plant, the leaf, the mineral, everything, the birds, the fishes, everything has consciousness. Similarly, you have the consciousness for the planet Earth as one entity. That's why we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, because the whole planet Earth is one family. It has its own consciousness. And when you transform, yes, it impacts the global consciousness. So many people, they say, okay, I'm here to change the planet Earth. I'm here to shift the consciousness. I want the whole of the planet Earth to radiate in friendliness, in friendship consciousness, in love consciousness, in oneness consciousness. So what can I do? The only thing you can do is change yourself. When you change yourself, you are directly impacting the global consciousness.
So my second question is onion, that is big onion and small onion bad like garlic?
No, onions are good. But in some monasteries, they don't use onions. In some spiritual traditions, they don't use onions because some of the organizations or in some ashrams where they take celibacy, they don't marry. They are not in samsara. So when you eat onions, what happens? It triggers your hormones, sexual hormones. So when you decided to be a celibate and you are eating onions, then you are in a great trouble. So that's why people who take celibacy, they avoid onions. But onions are very good. If when you're in samsara, when you're in the perfect middle path, then you can enjoy onions. The only thing is garlic. Okay, and the other thing is mushrooms. Mushrooms are neither a plant nor an animal. It is in between. It is a fungus. Okay, I think there is an echo coming. I'll just mute you. So mushrooms are neither a plant nor an animal. It is in between the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. It is a fungus. Mushrooms don't have chlorophyll. So when there is no chlorophyll, it cannot photosynthesize. It cannot go through the photosynthesis. It cannot absorb the light energy. Okay, it cannot absorb. The light is nothing but the prana, the pranic energy. It cannot absorb it. And mushrooms mostly feed on the dead matter. Mushrooms are grown on the dead matter. So when you eat mushrooms, there is no positive energy. So it is better to avoid mushrooms because it doesn't have the light energy. It doesn't have the positive vibrations. But it is not bad like garlic. So for me, mushrooms, it's better to avoid because it doesn't have light energy. But if you consume it, it doesn't create any harm like garlic. better to avoid mushrooms. But garlic, definitely no.
I have one question about fear, sir. Whenever I was triggered by someone forcefully, like they were talking about me or triggering me, I'll be forced to react to their statements and I make a statement towards them. Such statements will be keep repeating in my mind why I said like this, and the statements whichever I make, it will be repeating in my mind. How to avoid this, sir?
You got the answer. Be more mindful, practice more mindfulness. There is no other way, madam. If it is any other way, I would have probably told you in my presentation.
Okay.
So
Currently, what
don't
I'm
react.
making.
Don't react. Don't get into the reaction mode. If you are reacting, that means you are agitated inside. So do more meditation, practice more mauna. When you practice more mauna, silence, it helps you in your emotional, it helps to come to the emotional balance. Okay. So the more you practice mauna, the more you will start responding to the situation rather than reacting to the situation. So mauna is very, very important. You practice silence along with meditation and mindfulness.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
I just want to ask about the food. You know, in Bible it is written there. It is written that fish and all is taken. Like Jesus Christ served the fish and about the meat and all. There is no.
It is all wrong understanding, madam. It is a wrong understanding. If you want to understand Jesus Christ, unless you are a great meditator, you cannot understand Jesus Christ. He never wrote Bible. When Jesus Christ was alive, there is no such thing like Christianity. The followers of Jesus Christ later on wrote the Bible. And the original was written in Hebrew language. And later on it went through many translations. And then when the Roman Empire was at peak, when Catholicism was at its peak, the priest used to control the state. They are very powerful, the priest. So they started manipulating almost all the teachings of Jesus Christ. There are still pockets of commune in Europe because we traveled extensively and we met, though we were a guest, they invited us. So we have met many Christians, true followers of Jesus Christ. They are vegetarians. There is a community called Catars in the south of France. You have to research about that community. They followed the true teachings of the Christ. They were pure vegetarians and they used to meditate. But that community posed a very real threat to the Romans because the priest was acting in between. It is through the priest you have to reach God. So they have taken all the control. And these people, they are independent. They directly connect to God. In their meditation, they directly connect to God and they're following the teachings of Jesus Christ and they're vegetarian. And they speak the truth. So that is disturbing these Catholics. That is disturbing the Romans. So they said, okay, we have to destroy them. So the whole Catars community was killed and burnt. You can find it. The history book speaks about it. Okay. And there is another community we went in the Eastern Europe. You know, they follow an enlightened master. They call, the name of the person is master. They call him as a master. There are a lot of Christian monasteries there. And they are vegetarians. They say Jesus always speaks about love. The very statement, thou shalt not kill. No killing. Thou shalt not kill. Full stop. He didn't say don't kill humans, but it's okay to kill animals. It's okay to kill birds. No, Jesus never spoke about it. He said, thou shalt not kill. And then another great statement from Jesus Christ. Love thyself first. And then love the neighbors as you love yourself. First comes loving yourself. Then you become capable to love the neighbors. Who are the neighbors? Neighbors are not the people who live next door. Neighbors are not only those people. The neighbors of the planet Earth. We are living on the planet Earth. So love the neighbors. The birds, the fishes, the animals, they are our neighbors. We are all living together. So love thyself and love thy neighbors as you love yourself. These are the words from Jesus Christ. And thou shalt not kill. So he has spoken very crystal clear. But it is somewhere misunderstanding, wrong translations came in. See, a normal meditator, I'll just give an example. I was a meat eater by birth. I was born in a meat eating family. Just by doing 1 week of meditation, my consciousness shifted. I cannot even think of killing an animal because my consciousness started connecting with the consciousness of the animals and the birds and the fishes. It was so disgusting for me even to think that I'm going to kill something for my food. It was very disgusting for me. A person like me can go through this state of consciousness in 1 week of meditation. A person like Jesus Christ is such a highly enlightened master. Do you think he has eaten meat? Absolutely no. So unless you yourself are a great meditator, you cannot understand the teachings of Jesus Christ.
In my house, there is this question that in the Bible it is written, why don't you, why you are separate like that? So that is why I was just asking this question.
You need the right understanding of the Bible. That is the answer.
This Saturday I did that silence meditation, and it was wonderful experience, sir. And less thoughts were coming. I'm able to see it mindfully, and I also read the spiritual book on the name is through the gates of death. That was wonderful book, sir. So I was reading that, and it was so nice that very I was experienced very joy, and it was wonderful, sir. I got my mother-in-law at home, but I have to speak to her. She's 80 plus, so she will. So in that time, mindfully, I was speaking to her. That's what. Sunday I couldn't make it, but that day I was very happy. Saturday, it was very good. That was my experience, sir. And I got one question, sir.
Yes, madam.
This is regarding not about fear. It can be comes in ego or fear. I don't know. But the question is that how astrology and planets are impact on humans.
There is naturally an impact. Astrology is a science. Astrology is a
So
science.
we have to believe it or not.
You don't need to believe it. See, even in the astrological science, there is, there is an exception. Astrology works for normal people, like people who are non-meditators, and astrology doesn't impact yogis. This is there in the Shastra. This is there in the astrological science, that astrology doesn't apply to yogis. Yogis means meditators. Why it doesn't apply? Because they create their own reality. They take charge of their life. They become masters of their life. They are a self-realized person. So when you are a self-realized person, you take charge of your life. You are no more impacted by the outer influences. Your light inside is so strong that the influence of the astrology, of the planetary things, is very minimum. Okay. So the more you do meditation, the more the influence of the planets is lesser. It's your own inner light which guides you, which influences you, which impacts you. Okay, madam? Astrology is a science.
So,
but
why am I asking?
The spiritual science is the mother science of all the sciences.
Regarding seeing Kundalini to match bride and bridegroom, so on a girl and boy, how to, whether you to believe it or avoid?
These are all, you should not ask these questions in the self-transformation program, man. Okay. Because here we follow the intuition. We don't follow the birth charts. Okay, I'll tell you my case, my example. So in my house, they have the habit of, taking the birth charts and the Kundalini, whatever, to the astrologer before they start anything new. So when I was into the spiritual path back in the year 2008, I was a rebel at the time. For me, it was a do or die for me. I was so intensely in my meditation practice. Everybody thought I'm a crazy fellow. Why this fellow is not going to job and he's not doing anything. He's not behaving normal. All the time he's closing the eyes. All the time he's in his own world, and if he opens the mouth, he says no death and soul and consciousness. So they were very much worried about me. So they again went to the astrologer. The astrologer said blah 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 some things, and I told my parents, I said, don't waste your time and energy going to any astrologer, because I have taken charge of my life. Anything the astrologer says, it is bound to be false, because it doesn't apply to me, because I have become a yogi. I challenged my parents, if you want, you double check. You don't need to tell me what the astrologer said, but you can double check. Anything he says, I will prove it wrong, because I'm going to live the life according to me, through my inner guidance. I'm no more influenced by the outer planetary systems. You see, everything is psychosomatic, right? The moon influences your mind. The planetary positions influences your mind, and your mind influences your body. But if you are a meditator, then your soul influences you. Your soul energy impacts you. The realization of yourself, it's like, like the sun. So when there is so much light radiating from within, then your mind listens to you. You know how to empty your mind. You know how to still your mind. So you take charge of your life. Then the external influences are very little. So we don't speak about astrology when we are speaking about self-realization, because astrology doesn't apply to yogis. The impact is very minimum. Okay, madam, I think you got the answer.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. That's a wonderful answer I got. And thank you.
All right, friends.